Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Markers and Monsters. As always, I'm Colin, and today let's keep the spooky season vibes rolling by taking a look at a quote-unquote real-life cryptid supernatural encounter. This is the Flatwoods Monster. I'm going to start by just roughing in my shape here, and we'll get to an explanation of what exactly this is, but I wanted a simple drawing of the creature standing in the woods, kind of looming out. It's bizarre shape and weird hands and claws and kind of in a fog. Once I get that done, I'm going to start into like rough inks, little bit of color, stuff like that. Pretty simple drawing today, but let's talk about the monster itself. Picture, September 1952. A couple of kids are on the playground. School's out. It's the evening. It's about 7:15. They see a flaming ball fly across the sky and crash into a nearby field. They run, get one of the kids' mom. She's hanging out with her cousin, the National Guardsman. They grab a dog and a couple other neighborhood kids. So I think in total there's about 8 people in this little posse that go to find what crashed in this field. They travel up into the woods. It's getting dark. As I said, it was about 7:15 when they saw this thing come down. So night's coming on fast. It is the evening. They have flashlights. They get out into the woods here. They see this pulsing weird orange light coming from who knows where. And then turning, they see a bizarre figure, this like tall being with little claws. It's got a green outfit on that looks metallic, apparently. It's got a red head and it emits like a green-orange light from its eyes. Super, super strange. In a panic, they all run off, basically. Just like any supernatural encounter like Bigfoot or the Chupacabra or whatever, later evidence is not forthcoming, right? There's all kind of explanations as to what this was. Did they just see an owl? Was it a trick of the light? Was it something else? So anything from UFOs to angels to owls to tail lights, you name it. Everybody and their mother has come up with some kind of explanation for this. I think it's a fascinating little bit of cryptid history and lore. Flatwoods is set in Braxton County, West Virginia, kind of in the central part of the state. So it's tiny. As of a 2020 census, there's like 250 people living there. And I don't think there was many more than that back in the 50s from what I can tell. So this tiny little nothing town that's just out there, just a little place people live. I grew up in a place like that. And to think that all these people, went out and saw this bizarre thing, it's fascinating to me. Do I think that there was an actual alien there or a ghost or who knows what this thing was? I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think the Flatwoods Monster is fun and enjoyable, and I'm fine with mystery in my life. I don't need a definitive answer for me to enjoy something. Now, it can be said that after this event occurred, none of the people who saw it said it's an alien, it's a monster, it's a ghost or anything. They simply described, hey, we went up there and this is what happened. It wasn't until later that Gray Barker, ufologist and journalist and such, who's not without some controversy for the way they built things up, later got a hold of this story, put it in Fate magazine. A number of other paranormal investigators came to look at it, and it kind of became sensationalized in the papers. There was a part where they said this posse brought this dog up and there was a purple mist and the dog ran into the mist, and it later came out coughing and vomiting and crawled under a porch and died. And what was the spooky mist? That was never really reported by the people who went up there, but it's kind of become part of this legend, and that's the thing I'm most interested in is the this legend. It doesn't matter if that's what quote unquote really happened. It's just a cool story with a lot of weird twists and Just a bizarre. And the design of this creature, this Braxton County monster, the Flatwoods Monster as they call it, they said it had a giant hood on, like a, maybe not a hood, but like a cowl type thing behind it that's spade shaped, like the spades from a pack of cards. Super weird. Said that the outfit was made of some sort of like metal, like a green metal. Weird. Love that. Love those little details. It's like, keep them coming, little bizarre details. I dig it. As you can see here in the drawing, we've got most of the shape and the body, and I'm just kind of adding in little details. I wanted to make the eyes look like they were glowing with kind of an orangey thing. I don't know. So I kind of surround them with these little lines. We're kind of erasing pencil marks as we go here. Now, doing this background was a little bit tedious, I must admit, but I think the effect turned out pretty good, where I'm kind of feathering out from the center with the orange and feathering in from the outside with the green here. With a lot of the markers and a lot of colors, it's like orange has like a yellow base to it. You can't just throw that over green. It's going to change the color from orange to, something else, like a greenish yellow, essentially. So to keep that orange, unfortunately, I had to do it this way. Like I said, a little time consuming, a little tedious, but the effect turned out pretty well in the end here. I'm just going to start layering in different shades of green to kind of make it darker toward the exterior. This gets a little bit easier as we start to move in. And then after that, I'm going to start adding in like little trees in the background and just kind of cleaning this thing up. I almost viewed this one as kind of in the same way one would do a painting, with just multiple layers and layers and layers of color and stuff to build up different textures and areas and the things. So a fun one to work on, very different than some of the other ones that I've done, at least in terms of the technique there, but a good challenge nonetheless. When it comes to the paranormal and supernatural and ghosts and aliens and all that kind of stuff, I love it. I think it's so much fun to discuss, talk about, think about. As I said, I'm very comfortable with a mystery in my life. I don't need answers. In fact, there's a big part of me that doesn't want them. What kind of sad world would we live in if there was definitive proof that Bigfoot doesn't exist? I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in that world. I always want the mystery of like, is there something out there? What is it? It's fun, man. I dig that. So I love little things like this. I also really enjoy a little one-off, I guess you could call this a cryptid. For lack of a better term for our discussion today, I'm going to call the Flatwoods Monster a cryptid. All right. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but that's what I'm going to use. But I love a little one-off cryptid, right? Like this guy doesn't appear in 12 other states or anything like that. Unlike Bigfoot or UFOs or something, he or she, it is tied very keenly to its location, right? Flatwoods, it's a little tiny place. It's kind of like the Mothman, another West Virginia cryptid who's tied to Point Pleasant. The Mothman is so cool, never appeared anywhere else. And there's something, I don't know, kind of charming about that. It's like a local hero or a local legend or something, When I was younger, I went camping a good bit, and on occasion you'd tell like campfire ghost stories. I think that's a pretty common trope, right? Not as often as the media would have you believe, but we told some campfire ghost tales, and I think cryptids are kind of the modern equivalent of that. Instead of the spirits, they're otherworldly beings or phenomenon that are otherwise unexplainable, inexplicable. And I think that's just really cool. It's just part of our, weird cultural landscape. I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's add in some more little red highlights before I go in here with the pens and kind of clean everything up, start adding some white lines, stuff like that. As I said, a pretty simple drawing, but a fun one to work on and a great one to chat about with you guys. What I'd love to know is, throw this in the comments, either here or on the social media or somewhere. Do you guys believe in UFOs? Do you believe we're being visited by, little green men from outer space, as it were, or something like that? Aliens, grays? Do you believe in ghosts? Have you had any encounters with the supernatural? I've only had the one in my life. I don't know if it was actually supernatural. It was just kind of a weird thing where when camping, I was kind of isolated with a couple other kids, and we heard this weird sound like flowing through the trees, almost like a choir. It might have been some kind of weird Doppler effect. There's no roads near there where we were, deep in the woods, but who knows? We could have picked up something. It was creepy and terrifying, and we ran like hell, but yeah, interesting story. Let's take a look at the scan here. The old Flatwoods Monster. There we go. All right, looking pretty good. Close up here on the details. I added that purple mist in, and yeah, again, simple drawing, fun to work on, fun to talk about. Hey, I'm really glad you guys could join me today for this little installment. Again, post in the comments, ghosts, spirits, the supernatural, aliens, Bigfoot. I want to know about it. Throw them in. And with that, I'll leave you go. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.